Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome to another in-depth review for Marvel Strike Force. Now with the latest Vision Blitz I managed to get just over 700,000 and thankfully that was enough to be within the top 500. I think I was round about 406, so I was relatively close to it there, but we managed to unlock them, so we'll be able to have a good look at them in this video. Now what we will cover is we'll start off by looking at an overview. This includes where you go to unlock them and also his tags, because this is relevant as to what campaigns he can help out in and also what teams he can work with. We then check out his stats. Next up we check out his abilities, then we have a look at the synergies, and then to finish up we see where he places on the tier list as well. But we'll start off by looking at a general overview for him. Vision is a controller class, so he's all about offering buffs and debuffs and can actually put out a not bad amount of damage as well. Now from a visual perspective, his animations look amazing. They've got them perfect. You've got the density where he'll slam and hit the enemy, and then you've got the phasing aspect where he phases through the floor and he can phase to dodge moves. It really does look nice. Now in regards to how you unlock him at the moment, it's only through top 500 Blitz. Hopefully we'll see another Blitz in time, and hopefully we even get added to the campaign as well. Now he does unlock at 2-star, so it means you only need to get 45 shards for him, whereas most heroes that are locked behind the top 500 Blitz are 3-star heroes that require 100 shards. So that's something to bear in mind there. Now when we look at the tags, pretty interesting here. You've got Hero, Global, Tech, Controller and Avenger. The relevant ones that we'll look at a lot more when we get to the synergies section will be the Tech and Avengers one, so we've got some interesting combinations there. Now with all that covered anyway, we'll have a look at his stats. For the stats here then, we have 6 in total to look at. We'll check out 3 offensive stats and we'll also have a look at 3 defensive stats as well, and they're based on a rating of A to F. I come up with this rating by looking at the maximum and minimum stats for characters, removing any outliers that would skew the averages, and then breaking down the difference between the minimum and the maximum into the 6 different categories. Now the first set we look at will be the offensive stats. For the offensive stats then, he really fares not too bad for a controller class. His damage is C, so it's middle of the road, but I have seen him put out some pretty nice hits. Now his speed is B, so that's pretty great, that's up in the top tier there, and then his focus is A. Now that's especially good because he does have quite a few debuffs in his kit, and with the higher focus it means he has a higher chance of those actually applying on the enemy, so he does pretty nice offensively. Now we will have a look at the defensive stats. For the defensive stats here then, they are a bit on the lower side, but he does have certain parts of his kit that can help out with this. His health is down at E, so that's really pretty low. His armour is B, so that's nice, but it means you need to look out for enemies that have pierce because they'll just shred you with that low health pool. And his resistance is F, so that means he will be susceptible to things like stun and slow, so you need to watch out for that as well. Other aspects of his kit that can pull up his defensive stats a bit would be the fact that he can apply defense up to tech allies, and there's not a huge amount of tech allies you would run in the game, so he can have defense up, and that's active at the start of the match. And if you fully upgrade his passive, which we will look at in a moment, you can get up to 25% dodge chance as well, so that's pretty nice there. Now with all that covered anyway, we will have a look at his abilities. For the abilities here then, we have 4 in total that we'll look at. It's the basic, special, ultimate and also the passive. Now I'll show off the tooltip with the ability maxed out, but I'll let you know if it's one that you want to actually max out or if you want to save your crafting materials. So the first one we look at, this is the passive. This is density manipulation. So with this you gain 25% extra dodge chance. Looks awesome when he does dodge because he just phases through the attack, and on spawn the 2 lowest health tech allies gain defense up as well, and that's something we'll look at in more detail when we do check out the synergies. Regarding how high you want to take this, if you're going to have him as one of your main characters then do max it out. If not, you can get away with taking it up to about level 4 because you'll still get the 2 lowest health tech allies gaining defense up, and you only lose 5% extra dodge chance there, so you can get away with taking it up to level 4. For the basic, we have one of the longest ability tooltips in the game, so you will need to bear with me as we run over this one. This is called Heavy Hitter, so you attack primary target for 200% damage with a 50% chance to chain up to 2 additional targets for 160% damage. Now also, you apply a fence down against each tech enemy, and you have an 80% chance to apply defense down against additional targets. Now you would want to max this out because at level 6 you're losing a little bit of damage on the primary target damage, but you are only chaining up to 1 enemy, so it's worthwhile chaining to the 2 enemies. That way you're spreading your debuff to as many enemies as you can. Now regarding the debuff, it does say that it's defense down, but from testing them in game it's actually a fence down, so I don't know if it's a error with the tooltip, but it's an error with the skill. If I get an update I will let you know in the comments below, but for the time being this will be a fence down that it does apply. For the special, we have an ability that not only looks great but it's actually really nice as well what it does mechanically. This is called Dive Bomb, so it takes 4 turns to charge and comes fully charged, meaning you can use it at the start of a fight. With this you attack primary target for 200% damage and adjacent targets for 160% damage. But then the really nice part of this is that you apply ability block to primary target, so you can use this right at the start of the fight. If you've got an enemy that can be a hard hitting one, for example Winter Soldier, you can lock him down straight away and then you don't have to worry about that ultimate on him, so that can be really nice there. Now regarding how high you want to take it, the only thing that changes with this is the damage goes up in increments of roughly 20% for the primary target and also the adjacent targets as you level it, so you can get away with parking this round about level 5 and it will still do a nice amount of damage, but the most important thing is you've got that ability block there. For the ultimate, we have another pretty nice looking skill here. This is called Solar Beam, so with this it does take 6 turns to charge, comes with 4 charges at the start of the fight. Now you will attack all targets for 250% damage and you have a 50% chance to clear 2 positive effects. Regarding how high you would want to take this, at level 5 you retain the ability to clear 2 positive effects with a 50% chance, and all that happens is the damage drops down a little bit, so you can get away at having it level 5. Regarding the skill, it is nice, but I feel the fact that after your initial usage that it takes 6 turns to charge, that it could be a bit more powerful because it's a 1 in 2 chance to clear the positive effects, and you may also have the fact that if the enemy has high resistance that they would be able to resist you doing that as well. So it's a nice skill, but it's one that I do think could be a bit stronger considering it's his ultimate and also how long it takes to charge up. Now with all that covered anyway, we'll have a look at his synergies. When we look at characters he can work well with, there's a few interesting options here, and they're by and large based around his tags. So the first one is the Avengers tag. This means if you pair him up with Captain America, he gives Cap the additional 5% block chance, and also Cap has a higher chance to feed him ability energy. We then have Crossbones and Nebula and Rocket. They would benefit from the fact that he can provide defense up to tech allies at the start of a fight. That could be especially nice for Rocket because he can be pretty squishy. And then you've got Iron Man, because Iron Man can give tech allies an additional 25% crit chance, which is really pretty nice, and he also has a chance of getting that defense up on him. And then finally you have Korath. He has a tech tag, meaning he can get defense up, which is nice, but he also has ability block in his kit, and they're both really quick, so at the start of a fight you would have the chance of locking down 2 enemies with ability block. That's a combination I really want to play about with a bit because I think that could be really nice there. But with all that covered, we'll now look at the enemies you want to avoid. When we look at characters that could cause Vision a fair bit of problem, you've got a few here then. The first one we would have is Korath, the reason being that he has Pierce in his kit which can work its way through Vision's high armour, but also he's faster than Vision and he has ability block, so it's almost like a game of cat and mouse here. Korath could go first and lock down Vision from doing his ability block. That would be interesting to see. Now next up, these two characters could cause him a lot of problems. It's Hawkeye and Wolverine. Firstly, it's because they have Pearson in their kit, and again Pearson works its way through his high armour and he only has a low health pool to sustain himself. You've also got the fact that both of these characters have unavoidable tags on their skills. Now what that actually means is that Vision can't dodge these particular attacks, so not only is the piercing doing more damage, but they can't be dodged either, so these characters could really burn them down pretty quick, and you want to avoid them at all costs. Now with all that covered anyway, we'll now see where he sits on the tier list. For this tier system here then, we have 5 different ratings, the most powerful characters being on the left, that's the mega characters, and as we work our way from left to right they get weaker until we're all the way down at level 1 with Scientist Supreme sitting very sadly all on her own at the moment. Now in regards to Vision's rating, this is one that I think it's a very close call in regards to where he falls, but at the moment in his current state I would say that he's a level 3 character, and I've always mentioned when I put someone in level 3 this is not a bad rating at all. Currently in level 3 with the rating system I use, you've got Elektra, Winter Soldier, Nebula, they're all really good heroes, so a level 3 character doesn't mean that it's one you shouldn't farm at all. Once you start to get to level 2 or level 1 then most definitely be careful about farming them, but level 3 are characters that can work great in a lot of teams. Now the positives he has is that he's got the really nice synergies with the Tech Allies and also Avengers tags, so that helps out. He's got his high attack speed, the ability block on his special really is pretty awesome to have on the first turn, and he's got defense down and defense up. Now that is a lot, but he is a controller class so he should offer a lot because he's not there to put out damage, he's there to help control the fight. Now in regards to the negatives, there's not many, but I feel they're enough to keep him from being an alpha character. The biggest one is the fact that I feel that his ultimate could be buffed. We could have the turn cooldown on it reduced a little bit, or you could have the chance to wipe the positive effects increased, maybe up to 75%, something like that. You've also got the fact that he's got the really low health pool and low resistance as well, and as a controller that is to be expected of course, but when we add all these things together I do believe it is enough to just hold him off from being an alpha class character. Now I will actually mention that from a visual point of view he looks absolutely brilliant, so if you are a Vision fan I reckon you're going to absolutely love him. You've got the density, you've got the phasing in his attacks, and you've also got some nice flavour in his kit as well with the way he can buff Tech Allies, but he can also negatively affect Tech enemies as well. So I really do like what they've done in that respect, and if he gets a slight buff on that ultimate then I'd be happy to move him up to an alpha character. But I hope, as always, this video has been useful. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on Vision and how you done in the recent blitz, because it was quite a tough one and I can see them only getting tougher as time goes on, but I'll keep cracking away at them so I can get these reviews out for you all. So thanks for tuning in as always, and I'll see you all again soon.